Lieutenant Rachel Mears climbed before the sun. The rocks under her boots were sharp, the air thin and dry. She didn't speak, didn't grunt. She just moved. 37 minutes to the ridge. Always the same. She reached the lookout and dropped flat elbows against the dirt. Pulled the scope from her pack. Scanned. Not for enemies. Not today. Just terrain. Just memory. Back at the forward operating post, the others were finishing breakfast. They laughed loud, shuffled cards, shouted through the tent walls. She heard her name. Something about how she looked. The clipboard again. Always the clipboard. Rachel drew her notebook close, started marking elevations, cross-referenced yesterday's sketches. Wind shift noted. Southward, 5% more than yesterday. Her pencil scratched with precision, the kind learned over years of keeping people alive. In the operations tent, Lieutenant Colonel Briggs waved a pointer at a map. He didn't look up when she entered. "We're not moving the OP." His voice was final. She had suggested it last week. Better angle. Narrower kill zone. He didn't let her finish. "Just stick to logging troop movements, Lieutenant." She nodded once. No emotion. No fight. Walked out the same way she came in. They said she was cold. Maybe she was. But she saw more than they did. She logged every patrol route, recorded every shift in terrain, noted the habits of the wind, the sounds that didn't belong. She wasn't there to be liked. She was there to make sure no one died. Most of them didn't even know where she had come from. They saw the rank, saw the quiet, made assumptions, that she had gotten a lucky assignment, that she was hiding behind a desk while the real war happened outside. Under her cot was a steel case. No one had touched it. No one had asked. At night, when the base went still, Rachel took the M110A1 rifle from the case, cleaned it, recalibrated, then walked alone to the south ridge and fired into steel targets set deep into the valley. 800 meters, one shot at a time. She kept her score to herself. When someone asked, she said it was maintenance. Backup gear check. They believed her. She was the woman with the clipboard. She knew their names, knew which ones played poker and which ones faked their push-up counts. She knew who carried real weight on patrol and who just made noise. She watched. Quietly. Always. Not everyone noticed the way she scanned corners, the way she sat with her back to walls, the way she tracked shadows and remembered tire marks on unfamiliar paths. To them, Rachel Mears was a ghost that never spoke unless spoken to. An officer who filled boxes on spreadsheets and checked inventory sheets. But at 5:13 every morning, she was 30 meters above the camp, with a scope in hand and a weapon that hadn't missed in 7 years. She remembered every name on the memorial back in Fort Bragg, not because she knew them all, but because she had written too many of their coordinates into dusty notebooks like this one. She wasn't there to make noise. She was there in case things went silent. They joked about her during mess, said she probably alphabetized the cereal boxes, that she ran threat assessments on coffee supplies. No one said it to her face. No one needed to. In the tactical tent, Briggs ran another briefing. Maps unrolled. Laser pointers danced. Rachel stood still at the corner of the room, arms behind her back clipboard, steady. "I recommend pushing the OP forward by 200 meters. Better line of sight. Reduced exposure from the northern ridge." Briggs didn't look at her. "You're here to observe, not command." She nodded again. Just once. Stepped back. Didn't speak for the rest of the meeting. Outside, Private Dawson mimed her walk. The others laughed. One asked if she'd ever even been shot at. No one answered. No one knew. That night, Rachel laid out her rifle again. M110A1. Free-floating barrel. Custom suppressor. Zero drift at 800. She stripped it to pieces on the cot. Cleaned each surface like a ritual. Reassembled it without looking. Muscle memory. The forward sights snapped into place. Smooth. Familiar. At Euro 200, she walked to the range. The guards didn't stop her. She had clearance. They just nodded. Let her pass. She set up one target, then 2 more. varied elevation, marked each with small infrared tape dots only she could see through her NVGs. Breath, trigger discipline, wind speed, temperature drop. Each shot whispered into the dark. Metal pinged from 1,000 yards out. By 0300 she was back inside, logged in the security checkpoint, logged out on her notepad. No one ever cross-checked the entries. No one cared why she left the wire every night. In the gym, Corporal Price lifted heavy and loud, called her Captain Quiet once. She didn't respond. In the next meeting, she passed Briggs another recommendation. Unrealistic, he said without reading it. We'll do it by the book. She watched the edge of the table, said nothing. They never asked why she never joined the evening poker games, why she sat outside the barracks at night looking west into the dark. They never asked what she kept in the steel box under her cot, the one with the faded SOT emblem stamped on the lid. They never asked, and she never told. She wasn't there to be known. She was there to remember. Sergeant Cole was the kind who noticed things. 17 years in, 3 deployments to Fallujah, 1 Purple Heart. He didn't talk unless there was a reason. That night, he stepped into the outer corridor near the barracks. It was quiet except for the faint click of a bolt sliding into place. He didn't call out, just stood and watched. Rachel sat cross-legged on her cot. Her hands worked with practiced ease. The rifle lay across her lap, stripped down to its bones. The chamber was spotless, the trigger group already cleaned. She oiled the bolt with a steady touch. That's not standard issue, he said after a minute. Rachel didn't look up. M110A1. Custom barrel. NVG adapted scope. Looks like Tier 2 kit. Still no answer. Just a nod. 1 click to close the chamber. Cole didn't push. Instead, he stepped forward and tapped the steel case under her cot with his boot. It was scratched dull, the kind of box no one touched. The emblem was barely visible, but he knew the shape. SOT 2014. His eyes narrowed. Special Operations Training. That wasn't clipboard material. Rachel looked up, met his eyes. You were SOT. That's sniper track. She reached under and unlocked the case, opened it slow like it mattered. Inside were a set of documents folded and creased, a medal she didn't wear, a faded patch with a 3-digit kill zone number, 1 lanyard cut in half. Cole said nothing for a while. Just watched. What happened, Kunar Province, 2016. I had a shot. Clean window. Target confirmed. 800 meters. She paused. Then a child walked in front of him. I held. 2 seconds. The man got away. 2 weeks later, he bombed a convoy. 12 dead. Cole exhaled through his nose. You asked for reassignment. Rachel nodded once. Since then, I log. I watch. I train. I don't shoot unless I'm sure. Cole took a step back. He didn't offer sympathy. Just nodded like a soldier who'd seen men break and knew what it took not to. You ever miss no? Good. He left the room without another word. Rachel wiped the last trace of oil from the barrel, closed the box, locked it. She didn't need medals. She needed the rifle to be clean. Always. The fog clung to the ridge like breath on glass. Rachel lay prone, scope leveled. The valley stretched below, still asleep. She swept the west hills, scanned slow, every tree, every ledge. Then she saw it. Just a blink. A sharp glint like a needle catching light. 70 degrees west, 1,400 meters out. She blinked. It flashed again. Slight, but wrong. She logged the coordinates. Calculated time of day, angle of sun, cross-referenced with patrol routes. Entered it into her report. No urgency, just data. Filed it, tagged it to command systems. No reply. That afternoon, the medevac team left camp at 1432. Routine supply run. Light escort. 5 minutes past the ridgeline, gunfire cracked across the valley. High velocity. Single shots. Precise. The radio lit up. Man down. Then another. Third was the driver. By the time QRF arrived, 3 were KIA. No sign of the shooter. Rachel stood outside the ops tent, hands behind her back, watching dust rise where the bird would land. Another set of bodies. No one looked at her. She looked back at the ridge. 70 degrees west. 1,400 meters. Same glint. Same kill zone. She didn't speak. Just walked to her cot and cleaned the rifle again. The case stayed open that night. She left the lid up. Let them see it if they ever looked. They didn't. They called an emergency meeting. Colonel Briggs barked for updates. Voices overlapped. Maps shuffled. Someone cursed about intel failures. Rachel stepped forward. I know the shooter's position. Briggs didn't look up. You're not a shooter. I have the range. I have the shot. He waved her off. You have a clipboard. Sit down. Then Sergeant Cole spoke. Sir, with respect. She's more than that. Briggs turned. You questioning my judgment, Sergeant? No, sir. I'm stating facts. Rachel didn't flinch, just held her file steady. Briggs narrowed his eyes. What facts? She handed him a folder. He opened it. Inside were years of ballistic reports, detailed sketches, kill zone analysis, meteorological overlays, range cards, sniper profiles, all in her handwriting. What is this? My records. My logs, since arrival. Briggs stared at the stamp on one sheet. S out. Confirmed. Tier 2. Active 2014-2016. Why didn't you say anything you never asked? The room fell silent. Cole stepped closer. She's logged more sniper hours than anyone in this base. Confirmed kills 37. She's got the best shot at neutralizing this threat. Briggs looked at her again, this time differently. One shot, he said. If you miss, it's on both of you. Rachel didn't blink. I won't miss. Rachel was on the ridge before dawn. Cold. Still. Darkness wrapped around the valley like wire. She didn't bring a spotter. She didn't need one. She laid prone, unrolled her notebook, opened to a page marked with date and time, 5 days of movement logs. The sniper always returned to the same ledge. Natural depression, camouflaged by loose shale. From that spot, he had visibility on the southern gate, the med tent, and the mess. Rachel adjusted her M110A1, zeroed the scope to 923 meters, checked windage. Slight cross breeze, 3.1 knots from the southeast. Humidity dropped overnight. She waited. Below the camp stirred. Soldiers walked to breakfast. Radios buzzed. No one looked up. She did. Through the lens, she watched the sniper's nest. Still empty. She didn't fidget. Didn't blink. Just calculated. Temperature drifted. She adjusted elevation 1 click. The world narrowed. Nothing existed but that patch of shale and the space around it. At 5:59, a shadow moved. Rachel's finger rested along the trigger guard. Breath. Shallow. The shooter had returned. Same timing, same crawl, same position. She tracked him through the glass, waited. This wasn't luck. This was geometry, time, repetition. Rachel's thumb rested on the safety. She didn't speak. She just watched. At 06:03, the target settled in. He moved like he belonged there. Slow, precise, confident. Rachel adjusted windage slight left. Elevation held. Range confirmed. 923 meters. She inhaled once. Held. Focused on the space between heartbeats. The sniper raised his rifle. Rachel fired. The shot cracked through the valley like breaking glass, echoed then vanished. Through the scope, she watched the impact. Center mass. The shooter jerked once, then nothing. He crumpled forward, rolled sideways, and was still. One shot, no second chance. Back at camp, heads turned. Some ducked. Radios lit up with static and shouts. Command post scrambled. Soldiers yelled. Asked where it came from. Briggs ran outside. Spun in place. Searching. He saw her. Still prone. Rifle down. Calm. He walked toward her. Snatched the open notebook beside her. Flipped pages. Sketches. Diagrams. Patterns. Wind charts. Sniper paths logged to the minute. You've been tracking him. Rachel sat up. Didn't answer. This whole time she looked at him once. Since the first casualty. Cole arrived, radio in hand. Target confirmed. Clean kill. Command wants a name. Briggs looked at her rifle, the book, the shell casing still warm in the dirt. He didn't ask again. Rachel returned to the tent, cleaned the rifle like always, logged the time, marked the temperature drop, noted wind drift for next cycle. She didn't speak about the shot. She didn't need to. Command confirmed the enemy was the lead of a 3-man sniper team. The others vanished after his death. No more ambushes. No more medevac losses. Orders came down from battalion. Reinstate Lieutenant Mears to sniper active status. She declined. I stay where I am. Briggs didn't argue, not now. From that day, her reports were read first. Her maps became briefing standards. Patrols adjusted based on her notes. No one laughed anymore. New soldiers asked to sit in on her briefings. They took notes, copied her diagrams. Cole called it the Mears Doctrine. She called it observation. Private Dawson stopped joking, started listening. She never raised her voice, never took credit. When someone asked about the shot, she just said it was necessary. A week later, Cole found her steel case open again. Inside was the same rifle, same gear, but something else. The casing from the shot, cleaned, wrapped in cloth, tucked in the corner. He didn't say anything, just closed the lid and left it as it was. The Black Hawk lifted off at dawn. Rachel sat by the window. Her rifle case rested at her feet. The clipboard was strapped to her vest like always. Quiet, ready. Private Thompson sat across from her. Young, still green, watched her with the kind of gaze that held both awe and fear. He hesitated before speaking. Ma'am, can I ask something? She nodded. How do you live with it? Taking a life, I mean. She didn't look at him. Eyes stayed on the ridge shrinking below. You remember why you pulled the trigger? He waited. She didn't say more. You think about who you saved. You hope you don't have to do it again. She finally looked at him. But, if you do, you're ready. He nodded slowly, sat back, said nothing else. Rachel opened her notebook, flipped to a fresh page, dated it, began sketching terrain from memory, new assignment, new ground, new threats. She didn't write goals, didn't outline mission objectives, just elevation markers and approach angles, observation zones, ridge lines. She'd done this before. She'd do it again. In the base, they'd just left her diagrams still hung on the walls. Soldiers still quoted her numbers. The ridge where she took the shot was renamed in her file. But she didn't need a name on a map. She needed clean optics and time to observe. When the bird banked west, Rachel didn't look back. The job was never about glory. It was about being ready before anyone else knew they needed you. And she always was.